Holism and the pathway to God is not something that really we should separate, is it? I see holism, holistic therapy, holistic spirituality as being very much in keeping with the divine plan for the Father, Mother God, with the help of Gaia, Mother Earth, to reach down and allow God's children experience a shift of consciousness and experience the touch of a loving God. I know many practitioners who practice holistic therapy don't have a belief, and you don't necessarily have to have a belief in God to be an exceptional holistic therapist. But from my perspective, it's good when you do have a belief in God, because then you become a conduit, a facilitator for the divine healing energies to flow through you, and what you bring to the client-therapist interaction. You bring a commitment to the divine. And what the divine asks of us who believe in God is to ensure that we ourselves are a people of prayer. One doesn't have to become a nun or a monk or a member of the Teo community that I was guided to set up several years ago for ordinary men and women of different faiths to come and follow their heart. No, but being a covenanted soul to God in divine service, our heart guides us to become a person of prayer, a person who makes time to listen to that inner voice of God, and also to practice the disciplines of meditation, fasting, self-denial, and allow the Spirit of God empower us in our examen of conscience to reflect on our day and see whether issues or areas that needed God's healing touch. Because so many beautiful therapists today who are involved in the holistic field, many of them are wounded travelers. I know from my own profession, the nursing profession, where I gave 38 years of my life, not to a job, but to a way of life. And though I entered nursing as a monk, a young monk, inexperienced, it wasn't a job, it was a privilege to walk alongside another who was ill. But what I did discover that many of my comrades and colleagues and myself, we were wounded healers. Many of us were rescuers. And I guess the reason for that is the baggage we brought into our adult life from childhood, where there were many unresolved issues. In my case, it was an inner wounded child. But the healer, the wounded healer, is the best healer, but not the most effective healer if they remain wounded and a rescuer. Because being the wounded healer brings with it greater empathy, a greater inner knowing, and a compassion that's fed through one's prayer and one's commitment to a loving God. But in my line of work, when I used to travel the world running retreats and healing days, embracing angelology, the Christ or Magdalena energy, or the Ascended Masters, I was so privileged to meet so many wonderful people. And a lot of the delegates who would come and see me or attend our retreats or come here for therapies on a residential basis, particularly if they had an inner wounded child, one became aware that they were in themselves a great teacher. and I owe a debt of great gratitude to many of the delegates and clients I've been privileged to meet in my life. But in saying that, for an effective healer to be a conduit, a clear channel of divine love, of healing love, and to work effectively as a conduit for Mother Earth, Gaia, then one has to face many issues, and one has to reclaim those issues and heal them, because not to self-heal is actually doing the client that we offer holistic therapy to a great disservice. Why do I say a great disservice? Well, think about it. If you come to me to experience diaphragmatic healing energy, the combination of the Christ Magdalena energy, where we anoint your feet with the spikenard, the essence that Magdalena used on the feet of Jesus before Good Friday. If I have not dealt with my own inner core issues, and I'm rescuing and looping and in denial about many of my issues, then the healing energies is coming from God and from Mother Earth, the nature spirit and the universal life force energy. Call it Reiki. If I am not grounded and I've not spent time on healing myself, then the energies coming to me to self-heal, and nothing is going to the client. And yet our clients have paid us for a therapy which they've not received. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is, holism on the spiritual path in service to God works effectively when we, the therapist, has taken every possible effort, made every effort to own our baggage, and not to spend a lifetime dwelling on it, reflecting on it, and churning it up and churning it out. No, we've to honor it, we've to bless it, and then we have to release it to God, but not hold on to it as someone who's a victim does with the poor me syndrome. Holism is an effective conduit of divine healing, whether it's aromatherapy, whether it's Reiki, spiritual healing, crystal therapy. The therapy in themselves really doesn't have the same force from an energetic point of view if the therapist is stuck, if the therapist is full of ego. Look at me, I'm marvelous, instead of being in divine service. And so many beautiful therapists today who are struggling financially in this global recession will be paying the price because the divine and Mother Earth will block clients, and the laws of attraction and the laws of abundance won't apply because we are putting out a negative to the universe, and we're going to attract more negativity rather than the opposite. So our unwillingness to self-heal becomes a block, a real block to self-healing and also to empower others self-heal. So my prayer is if you are a therapist, a healer, a practitioner in holistic therapy, your first duty of care is to yourself, not to rescuing the world. Painful as that may be for me, it took me many years to realize that. And we can only give to others what we have ourselves received first. So it's important as a practitioner that we self-heal, that we care for our soul, for our mind and for our body, and that we celebrate our diversity, and then we come and surrender our heart in divine service so that we become an effective tool, a conduit for holistic therapy, to be powerful, to be energetic, and to touch lives. Bless you and thank you.